Welcome to Caliban Command. We are going to discuss getting started playing Dark Angels today. Before we begin, let's discuss starting points. For new players who have a friend who wants to play Tyranids, the Ultimate Starter Set is the best option. It's cheaper for you because you get to split the cost up. You also get terrain to practice a proper match with, or to flesh out a table if you've already been collecting and are just adding factions. The same can be applied if you want to play the Tyranids as well. This gets you a combat patrol for both factions, plus the terrain I mentioned. The combat patrols aren't priced as well as that set, but if you don't have someone to split the cost with, they can still be a solid foundation for a new army. The first combat patrol is Combat Patrol Space Marines, which comes with a Terminator-themed combat force. The second is Combat Patrol Dark Angels, which I think is a bit of a strange assortment of generic Marines that are being labeled as Dark Angels. As you can probably guess based on my language, I personally prefer the Terminator theme as it is more in line with our first company, the Deathwing. The fourth starting place is the blank slate method. Start out with a few basic choices. I'd pick up a box of intercessors or two, and then a character or two, and then something you're excited to paint. I picked Ravenwing bikes as my first big addition to my army, and I still use them in every game that I play. We're at a bit of an odd point for Dark Angels at this time. We don't have our Codex, which is set to come out near spring of 2024, so we're kind of at an awkward growth phase for our army. We also have a lot of rumors about our first company, the Deathwing, which may be receiving a range refresh for them alongside the Codex. I'm personally putting enough stock in those rumors to hold off on buying Terminator models as much as I love the new scale. I'll be picking up a box of them soon in order to demonstrate some kit bashing options for them and to play around with them and see if I can make them look more Dark Angels themed. For now, however, if you do pick up new sculpts for Terminators, please remember that you can always leave the right-hand shoulder pad off in case we do get an upgrade kit with our Codex, and glue that pad down later if we don't get one. Alternatively, you can glue it down and seek a third-party 3D render or print one off yourself if you have a printer to glue down onto it to make it feel more like a Dark Angels model. Remember that haste makes waste, and don't jump to a decision though. We are going to go through 3 lists here in this video that provide foundations to build armies off of. Each list is going to total out at 1,000 points and going to follow one of the 3 methods that I've mentioned, either a combat patrol or a blank slate. Our first list uses the Gladius detachment. This is being done due to how reactive our index detachment is. You want to be proactive when starting out. Learn the game well, and trying to react instead of act can be a lot less fun. I personally still prefer proactive play myself rather than reactive. Our list uses a Terminator captain with the adept of the Codex. This allows for flexibility with combat doctrines as well as triggering 2 on a particular unit at a time. 1 librarian in Terminator armor, 1 5-man Terminator squad, and 1 5-man Infernus Marine squad. This is all covered in the combat patrol for Space Marines and doesn't use anything outside of that. Then you have the additions. 2 5-man intercessor squads with bolt rifles, a grenade launcher, and a power weapon for the sergeant. 1 3-man eliminator squad with heavy bolt sniper rifles and the carbine on the sergeant. However, in the early matches, I would play him using the sniper rifle rules in place of the carbine. 1 Ravenwing Black Knight squad with plasma talons. The grenades are a niche choice, and I personally recommend sticking to the plasma option. 1 Terminator or Deathwing Terminator box. Each has its pros and cons. The Deathwing have some unique weapons on their sprue that the other box lacks, but uses the old sculpt size. We may see a replacement in the spring. This build will run you roughly 400 USD without the upgrade kits, and 430 USD with the upgrade kits. Our second list uses the Combat Patrol Dark Angels as its basis. We will start with the Chapter Master of the Dark Angels. Azrael is a beast in melee combat, and his combo weapon is a solid choice too. He provides a 4-up invuln save to his unit and a once per game 4-up feel no pain against mortal wounds. The Primaris Chaplain will receive Fire Discipline, which provides sustained hits 1 to his unit, and during Devastator Doctrine, a critical hit modifier, making it 5-up instead of 6-up. 3 5-man intercessors with bolt rifles, a grenade launcher, and a power weapon for the sergeant. The Inceptor squad should probably be built with the Plasma Exterminators, as they are a good source of anti-elite firepower early on. However, the Combat Patrol uses the Bolter. I'd still recommend arming them with the Plasma option and play them as the Bolter for Combat Patrol. The Redemptor should be armed with the Macro Plasma Exterminator, Onslaught Gatling Cannon, and Twin Frag Storm Grenade Launcher. This covers anti-elite and marine equivalent wounds fairly well. The Stern Guard have a lot of fun weapons. I'm partial to the Stern Guard bolt rifles, but a strong case can be made for the combo weapons. Either is a fine build for them, and you can honestly go either way with them. The Hellblaster squad weapons all share a profile now. Build whichever weapon looks the coolest to you, or mix and match. And finally, this build will run you roughly 400 USD without the upgrade kits and 430 with them. The Combat Patrol comes with 2 upgrade kits built into it in this case. I'm not entirely sure why, other than the fact that you have the Intercessors in there and the other Combat Patrols received 2, and they didn't want to skimp out on the upgrade kits for us. List 3 is where we get into the expensive end, but we will also have the most unique list here as we aren't working around the Combat Patrol. This is where I started my rebuild of my Dark Angels when I found out that I love the Horus Heresy colors more than their 40k colors. We will start with the detachment. It's not Gladius this time, we're using the Anvil Siege Force. I'm still playing around with enhancements a bit as this list is a work in progress, but it's still a lot of fun. The Captain in Gravis armor with heavy bolt rifle and master-crafted power sword is going to be our primary HQ and receive most of the enhancements if we place them in. The Chaplain on bike is going to be partnered with the 6-man Ravenwind Black Knight squad with Plasma Talons. The Captain is going alongside one of the 2 heavy Intercessor squads, which are all armed with the standard heavy bolt rifle as well as the heavy bolter. The Terminator squad is going to receive an assault cannon, 4 storm bolters, and 5 chain fists. The Stern Guard veterans are going to be once again personal choice between the combi weapons and the Stern Guard bolt rifles. These are lists that I think are fantastic, easy starting places for the majority of players. This last list is the hardest of them and the most expensive for a reason, and it's because honestly it could be anything that you want to run with. My channel is being supported by Hobbytown. It's where I've bought most of my collection over my time playing Warhammer. I got into the hobby with some advice from one of their workers, and have since expanded my knowledge base and skill set with the game. They support a wide array of hobbies that this small collage series just doesn't do justice to. They have stores spread out across the US, and I strongly recommend that you pop in and take a look if you get the chance, or visit them at hobbytown.com. My local shop has been an amazing support group for my hobby goals, as well as helping me meet new people and expand my skill set over the time. They're always happy to talk color theory with me or recommend products that they think might help me along my way towards getting a project done. It's been a blast working with them, and I look forward to doing so in the future. Anyway, this has been Caliban Command, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Keep painting and have a good time with the game.